is Friday, and we're talking Michigan football here on the Michigan Football Report. There's been a lot of buzz all day about some transfer quarterback rules. I'm going to give you my take on it, and it might not be super exciting for Michigan fans, but it's a weird story, and I'm not sure what to make of it with a certain quarterback transfer. Then, told you a couple weeks ago, we did a mailbag. Someone asked me about offensive line. I said, I want to give it some more thought. I'm going to talk about it in a future episodes. I have talked to the wise men. I've talked to the sources. We're going to talk about an offensive lineman towards the end of today's show. Right before that, though, a 5-star running back on campus at Michigan this weekend. Are we on commit watch? What to make of the guy who might need to change his last name, which we told you on last week's show. Let's start with that top story, though. QB transfer rumors, et cetera, et cetera. On 3, they've been around. They've been out there for a couple years now, 3-4 years. They've got a guy named Pete Nakos. Now, I don't know where this guy gets the expert or the transfer portal, whatever, but because I looked his resume up, I looked him up on LinkedIn. There's nothing in his background that says he's qualified for this job. He's a 27-year-old dude, etc. But he's become On3's transfer portal insider, and he has predicted that Jake Garcia. You may remember that name, right? 4 or 5, 6 years ago. Jake Garcia, 2021 quarterback, 4-star commit, top 4-star quarterback, top 50 player in the country, is leading Michigan. They're predicting that he's going to land at Michigan. We're going to tell you the details in just a second. But we've asked this in the past, and it works 100% of the time, works 60% of the time, or vice versa. We are publishing this at 5:30 Eastern on Friday. So if you're watching here on Friday afternoon, between 5:30 and 6:30, the first hour, help us out. Get this show into the feeds of more Michigan football fans. 100 likes in that first hour. It's usually doubles the audience if we can do that. So if you enjoyed the show or just want to help us out at all, click the like. Costs you nothing. Heck, unlike it at 6:31 if you really want, but could use the help right now as we are in the dog days of summer. Jake Garcia, all right, top 50 recruit, number 47 overall in the 24/7 Sports composite rankings, and nothing really has happened since, right? He was committed to USC as a junior. He then went and ended up with Miami kind of right before signing day there in 2020 as a 2021 recruit, and did nothing in 2 years at Miami, right? Just threw the ball a few times, et cetera, et cetera. Transferred to Missouri. Didn't win their starting job, completely missed out on that. And then went to Eastern Carolina last year, so his third school in 4 years. Got the starting job, started about 6 games, which just was bad, right? 12 interceptions and 6 starts, an interception every game, and lost out to a Michigan State cast-off, right? I can't remember the guy's name, but you guys remember from a couple years ago, started a few games for Michigan State. So let's go back to this little path of Jake Garcia, right? In the same recruiting class as J.J. McCarthy. So 4 years out of high school now, right? McCarthy 3, now 1 in the NFL. 4 years out of high school. And McCarthy was top 3 or 4 quarterback. Garcia was the 6, 7 quarterback in that class. He attended, Jack, 5 high schools in 4 years. So it was 3 different high schools his freshman through junior year. I didn't look in the deep of one a year or one for half year, whatever. 3 high schools, freshman through junior year. Then California cancels the 2020 football season, his senior year, right? 2021 spring year. So the fall of 2020 is his senior year. Cancel because of the COVID concerns, right? But he wants to play football. He's enrolling early, so he's not going to play in the spring football. They moved their football season back to the spring, right? And so he transfers to Valdosta in Georgia, which is one of the big powerhouses in all of high school football. They win national championships. They're always up there in the top 10, like the USA Today national rankings. And he plays 1 game for them. And then the Georgia Athletic Commission, covers high school sports there, says, nope, ineligible because you have not proven that. And this season, by the way, started in late October, right? They didn't start back in August like you normally did. It's a delayed start to the season in Georgia. He plays 1 game, and they have to forfeit that game because he did not prove that it was a legitimate move, right? They're trying in Georgia to avoid people relocating for just 1 season, right? Kind of high school recruiting, guys popping into big schools like Valdosta and others. Okay, so he plays 1 game at Valdosta. And then, Jack, you're gonna say, James, there's no way this is true. You're going to say, no way this is true. In order to keep playing high school football, right, because his mom stayed back in California where he grew up, him and his dad were just going to go for 4 months. He was going to graduate in December, enroll at USC, right? Still committed to USC at this time, okay? His parents go to court in California and get a legal separation. I shit you not, Jack. Do you believe me? A legal separation. They go back, appeal it with Georgia. Valdosta, they don't want any part of it. Say, hey, we can't wait for this court appeal, and we're going to move on. put another quarterback in there, an underclassman. So then there's another high school 4 hours away in Georgia. They go to Georgia and say, look, we're legally separated, so that if is a leave, it's like a change in family status. Parents divorced, you move. Because his mom was still in California, they didn't consider it a legal move. Separation papers, though, that is a legit move, even if it's completely false. And they were open about it. They did an interview and said, we did this just so our son could play high school football because California's not letting him. I couldn't believe when I read this. This is insane. While this is all going on in the fall of 2020, USC starts getting cold feet. You know who they took a commitment from? Miller Moss, right? And Jackson Dart, who just got drafted by the Giants, right? Dart ultimately played, I think, 1 year for USC, committed to enter a transfer to Ole Miss himself. So that would have been a heck of a class, those three guys in that 2020 recruiting class. But I couldn't believe it. So right about this time, his parents are faking a separation. He's going to his fifth high school, playing in two schools in one season in Georgia. He then finds out about Jackson Dart. Miller Moss decides to decommit from USC, commits to Miami, 5 high schools, 3 colleges so far, going to go to a 4th college, plus he was committed to USC. So there are 10 schools, 5 high schools, and 5 colleges. Once he makes his commitment, they will say, hey, Jake Garcia was either part of our program or committed to our program for a year and a half like he was with USC. What a wild story. I mean, I couldn't believe this when I started digging into it. I'm like, how is this not bigger news? The only other person I can remember, Jack, is Dylan Raiola, committed to Georgia, committed to Ohio State, ended up committing to back to somebody, flipped to Nebraska at the very end where his uncle was a coach and his dad played, all while he went to 5 high schools in 4 years as well, in Texas, I think maybe even Ohio, and then Arizona, kind of where you grew up. So my take on this, Michigan might need to think they need to add depth. Maybe Jaden Davis is just not there. Maybe, what's his name? The quarterback last year. I'm just losing my mind here. Davis Warren. Yeah, I'm like, Davis Warren. Maybe he's not fully going to be healthy for fall camp. Michigan wants to add a 3rd or a 4th depth piece, but seems to me like Jake Garcia. I don't know him at all. I know nothing about his personal life, but just that much flip-flop. It's like when somebody applies for a job here, Jack, and I look at their last 3 or 4 years of their life, or in Garcia's case, 7 or 8 years, going back to like his freshman year of high school, and I see in the last 5 years they've had 8 jobs or 4 jobs or 3 jobs. Like, some people don't want you around, or I don't want to hire you for you to go look for a skip town elsewhere. So it just seems like something Michigan doesn't really need to add. I wouldn't recommend bringing on, unless for some reason 2 of those other 3 quarterbacks, Mikey Keene, Davis Warren, Jaden Davis, like 2 of those 3 guys for some reason aren't going to be able to play, then maybe. But if not, I don't know. So let's think about this quarterback position. I'm going to put the number at this point. What we know, and I'm more confident than ever that Bryce Underwood is going to be the starter day 1. Will he have, let's just talk about regular season games. So basis on 12 games, give me a over or under. Over or under, I just need one word from you guys. Down the bottom, 10.5's the number. Will he have under that and starts, or over that, based on the 12 games on the schedule? Don't project into the playoff or Big Ten title game or bowl game or anything like that. I'm going over. I think I've got him for every single game, barring an injury, which is impossible for us to predict. All right, let's talk about Mikey Keene. All right, the 6-year quarterback, I believe he is, maybe 5th, 6-year quarterback, started against Michigan last year, started at Fresno. Prior to that, started at UCF for a little bit. He's back. He missed the spring practice, which really I think helped Jaden Davis and Bryce Underwood get more first and second team snaps. Bryce Underwood, we said last week, most prepared quarterback for a freshman in college football history. But Mikey Keene's back, and he's gonna put his full-throated effort towards winning this job in fall and throughout 7-on-7 informal workouts over the next 6 or 7 weeks. Nearly back to 100%, but I don't necessarily think that he's going to play that much of a factor in who wins the starting job. I think this staff is all in on Bryce Underwood, and the only reason that Keene is going to see meaningful playing time is, God forbid, an injury, or Underwood just goes in there and just is not ready for the bright lights. Then maybe they take a veteran like Keene. Is Michigan on 5-star commit watch? You need to keep watching the Michigan Football Report. And it's not just because of this potential 5-star running back. It is because Factor is back as a sponsor of the Michigan Football Report, and it is no longer winter. It is summer. Summer is here. More sun, more light, more time to do all the things that make summer so special. And the number one thing you don't want to be doing all summer, spending hours cooking inside. That's where Factor comes in. Factor's chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals are ready in just 2 minutes, taking the hassle out of eating well. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, perfect for any active lifestyle. You can pick Through 45 weekly menu options, gourmet meals that fit your summer goals, you've got options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. Factor powers your day from sun up until sundown. You can get 50% off your first box from Factor and free shipping when you go to factormeals.com/MichiganChat50off. Use promo code MichiganChat50off. That link and that promo code is down in the description and the comments of today's video. I'm going to put it as a second paragraph, so go down and click it. Factormeals.com/MichiganChat50off. Use that code. It's the same code as the URL. It's MichiganChat50off. Use it. You will love Factor. I love Factor. Jack loves Factor, and it is perfect for your dietary needs this summer. Talked about this guy last week too, Jack. I said he needs to change his name. Now, there's some haters and losers saying, that's embarrassing, James. You shouldn't do that. His name isn't the L. There's no L in his name. It looks the same. The I and the T, it makes it look the same. And I just don't want – I know what's going to happen. He's going to commit to Michigan. He's going to go for 215 yards against Ohio State, and then Ohio State fans are going to be wearing his jersey. They're going to toss the L on there, right? They're going to throw an L on there. They're going to draw an L on there. They're going to be calling him names. I just don't want it. Just change your name to Hiter. Just add a T. Hiter. Imagine if his name was instead of Hiter, Hiter. That'd be a badass name. But he is Michigan's top target on the board at any position left in this 2026 class, right? These guys are about to enter their senior year of high school. And he's on campus, but he's doing a tour of his 4 schools. It's Michigan, it's Tennessee, it's Georgia, it's Ohio State. These are his final 4. There's been some speculation that it's Michigan and Tennessee. He, of course, interpreted that wrong. I haven't done the interviews. We talked about that last week. But on campus right now, going to be there till Sunday. Can Michigan put the pressure on him to maybe skip that visit? He's taking a visit to Tennessee next weekend. Let him compare to what Georgia showed him last weekend, Ohio State 2 weekends ago. Give him the love he's looking for, the offense. I think Michigan has the best selling ability to a running back of any of these teams. Georgia's had success. Ohio State's had success in Tennessee. But I don't think anybody can say they've had as much success over the last 3 or 4 seasons with Sherrone Moore at the helm, O-line, calling plays, head coach as Michigan's head man there going into his second year. Coffee is for closers in the movie Glengarry Glen Ross. It's a sales movie, Jack. It's from the 80s that you should watch if you haven't. You're a movie guy. Coffee is for closers only. He says, put that coffee down, right? Coffee's for closers only. You got to close, Sherrone. You have got to close. NIL is going to play a factor into this, and this whole thing with the NCAA and Congress. I don't even know how to explain it at this point. It's still so murky. I don't know if anyone really knows how to explain it. But maybe a chance for Michigan to pull away. I don't think he's going to commit on site this weekend, but they could leave feeling very comfortable. He goes to Tennessee next weekend. Could a commitment happen in the month of June? Don't rule it out. But I don't know about this, is the eggs in one basket theory. And it's kind of getting tough to see where Michigan's running back recruitment goes if they don't land him. Because if you look from 4 and 5 months ago, as you got out of that 2025 class into 2026, and you say, all right, who are the top running back targets for this team? There were 4, 5, 6 guys that all the blog boys, all the recruiting gurus were saying, these are the Michigan's top targets. They've all committed elsewhere, right, to Notre Dame and to other schools. And Savion Hiter is the only one left at that elite level. Instant impact, can contribute as a freshman in the 2026 season. So all your eggs are in one basket. You better land him. That is just very simple. If you're hiring for people, if you're recruiting, whatever it is, if you put all your eggs in one basket, you better be pretty damn confident. So Sherrone Moore playing with a little fire here. So now is on you. He's on campus. He's getting there right now. Land Savion Hiter. Coming up, I told you a couple weeks ago, last week I think it was, 2 weeks ago, that we are going to dig in, hear some sources on the offensive line to tell you where things stand as Michigan's really doing for the second year in a row, almost a full overhaul of their O-line. If you guys have yet to do so, follow us on social. I am on Twitter at James Yoder. We have an Instagram page that Jack and myself update multiple times a week with great Michigan news at Michigan Football Report, also on TikTok at Michigan Football Report. And then they won't let us change the URL. We'll put all these in the comments and description. It's facebook.com/HarbaughGoBlue. One of the biggest communities on Facebook, right? 85,000 followers strong. The Facebook page from the Michigan Football Report. Little news, though, before I touch base on that offensive line. I tweeted this out last night. This has been rumored, but I'm not kind of digging into foreign basketball players, so it happened. Cool. A 21-year-old, right? And technically it seems like he's actually going to be counted as a freshman because he's never been in college before, but he's 21. He averages, 10, 12 points a game in German semi-pro ball, 8 rebounds, something like that. Malik Cordell from Germany, enrolled at Michigan, got through admissions, which seemed to be the holdup, and now Michigan's got Twin Towers again. They've got multiple 7-footers. They have the most impactful freshman and transfer portal class coming into college basketball this year, and that's why I think most polls are going to have him as a top 3, 4, maybe even 5 team when the preseason polls come out. And heck, I'm saying Indy, Final Four, or bust before this guy, now after adding this 7-footer. More on the offensive line, but first, do want to ask you guys to subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button as we approach 35,000 subscribers. Michigan Football Report. We didn't do as much content in 2024, but we are back and better than ever in 2025. Hit that subscribe button right below the video today. Has a star offensive line emerged and has proven himself as not just maybe Michigan's most improved player, but the guy who is going to hold down this offensive line for the next several years. And that young man is Andrew Sprague, top 100 recruit in the 2024 class. Played in 4 games last year. I got spot time early on in the season, then didn't play for a few games. But when all the guys sat out and there was some movement and some injuries for the bowl game, he started against Alabama and their first team defense, who didn't have any players sitting out, and he performed very well. Had a terrific spring practice from what sources in and around these things told me, and has absolutely been an animal in the weight room. So he still keeps his freshman eligibility because he only played 4 games last year. And he's got this year. He's got next year. He's got 4 full seasons if he wants them. People in and around the Michigan football program right now are saying Andrew Sprague and then Andrew Babalola, right? Redshirt freshman, true freshman. There is a very high likely chance. I think Sprague is a guarantee at the right tackle. Babalola, putting it right there to be the left tackle. You could have this pair of guys playing together for the next 3 seasons as your bookends with a 5-star number 1 quarterback in the country. You couldn't ask for a better situation like that from an offensive lineman as long as they perform and they live up to the hype. These running backs behind you, only thing missing is the wide receivers, which is completely unproven. We have to see what Donovan McCulley and others, Andrew Marsh, the freshman, etc., bring to the table. If you made it to the end of today's Michigan Football Report, give me a boasted down in the comments. I want to know who the real ones are who watch our entire show. We will have a video for you early next week as well. Till then, go blue.